Okay, go ahead, Sharon. I got to work on this. We got a problem.
And welcome. And I he's laughing at me. I have a right off the bat. I have a sore throat.
I need to sit right here. See, they can hear
Yes,
you.
I have.
See,
I have a sore throat, and I hope everybody can hear me.
you can. Did you not hear it
Okay,
now?
great. So I am. I am Zare, and I'm here with Aymar, and we are taking the journey together. Regardless, I have been saving my throat all day long, and so we should be able to make it through this show, this hour. I'm going to start off with the motto or our belief statement. And it goes like this: we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, your children, or even what Jesus says, we are going to relate. We get the idea that we can be friends, but we can't be lovers, or we can be lovers, but we can't be friends. Therefore, we decide we can marry our lovers, but not our friends. At taking the journey together, we feel the need to relate in a balanced way. By balanced, since we believe your best friend can be your best lover, we believe in taking the friendship and sharing on one side and the lover and sexual compatibility on the other side, then work together towards creating thriving relationships or what are called healthy relationships. And so that is our belief statement. And we have this wonderful show planned for you today. We've had a wonderful weekend time out of town, and it was really an eye opening and heart opening experience. And because of that, we decided that we would share some things that has that came out of that experience over the weekend. And so, therefore, we are calling today's show "It's a Family Affair." Okay, so you want to go ahead and bring Latita in?
Yes, I'm going to bring her in. I'm trying to hold on. Storage one. Oh, them are the people. That's, oh my goodness. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, Latita, we have you in. She comes up with a smile that lasts for miles. Now, don't let you see her with no smile, because if you do, you're gonna like, man, that's just the girl ready to bite your head off. But when she puts that smile on, you go, oh, she's cool.
Yes. So, how are you?
I am well. I am wellilicious, groovalicious, alllicious all day.
Love
All
hearing
right,
that.
wow, all right, that is good. You know, our um, event that we took, because it was an event, to have a chance to see my son, who I haven't seen for almost over a decade, and the family members also too on the on my side of the family, which would be my dad's side of the family, made it very historical and memorable for me. I always was kind of like the odd duck in the family anyway. They used to call me at school either the street preacher or the street prophet, one of the two. And so I did not quite necessarily fit into the same square block of my um, family on my dad's side, who were very much alpha males. They talked about they would clear out bars. They talked about they were unbelievable football players. And Sharon has met some of their sons who were 6'5", 6'4", 300 pounds. And she got to meet a couple of them. So all the Buttsmen are pretty much very large and in charge
It
in their
was small.
mindset. I'm
You're
I'm
small.
a small one.
What? Wow.
Everybody, even my dad's was larger than me. But it was good to see him. I felt that kind of unconditional kind of love, at least that day, that you usually don't feel with people. So it was a very good, warm feeling. And then the connection I had with my son, as if it never really dropped, made it even that more inspirational for me. I'll be honest with you. And the trip that we drove up there was definitely well worthwhile. A long trip from Savannah all the way up north. A little space, a little place called Des Moines, Iowa, of all places. What was funny was that day we were there, somebody's commandment she flew in that very day.
The same day
The
we got
same
there.
day, and I was
I'm like,
thinking,
are you
is he
following us?
absolutely funny at the same time? But it was good. It was what was supposed to be, and now ongoing. Son still is contacting,
And
wanting to keep that
sharing.
ongoing communications. And so it brought to our attention. You may hear some because our studio is not that silent. You might be hearing some thunder in the background because it is storming like cats and dogs right outside of our studio and the window on that side. Do you hear it a little bit?
No, here as well. It's doing the same thing. That's why you saw me kind of glancing a little bit like, okay, if it gets too kind of crazy, I'm not crazy. I'm just going to embrace it and love it and shut down this area.
Well, we thought driving back because we stopped in all the cities that I lived in before, from of course that city to Omaha. Went to see in Omaha Malcolm X's museum up there. Got some pictures up there. Some places I lived up there in Omaha, Nebraska. To Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri. We lived there together, of course, and were there for quite a while. And then from there, we went to St. Louis, one of the famous places I lived. I like living in St. Louis for whatever reason. When I worked for Anheuser-Busch for years as doing technical crap. But anyway, I love St. Louis. We enjoyed ourselves. Had a chance to go to see the arch, even though they messed up on one thing because we wanted to go up in the arch, but they messed up on something. But enjoy that.
No,
Exactly. And then through Tennessee, Kentucky, and of course Atlanta, and then all the way back. House took us about 2 days. Rest of
Mm.
times at rest stops, like us older, younger people should have did, but we did anyway, trying to save our money. But it was an adventure, one heck of an adventure.
it was. It was. It was quite.
Definitely.
It was a well needed, relaxed,
Mm.
freely moving weekend.
Exactly.
It just didn't. It was not like real quick. Let's rush up there and rush right back.
Yeah.
It was. It was leisurely. We were planning on leaving at like 8 or 9 in the morning to come back, and then we just spur of the moment decided, okay, we're gonna stop and we're gonna leave later, have lunch with his son, and then head on out. And that was a good decision, a really good decision
Exactly.
when we did that, to have that little extra time that we could spend with him.
Well, let's get things going. As you know, we were doing our shows now with sessions, giving that quick bite to fast food, fast information, so that whatever you remember, you get a chance to remember it now. Hopefully, some of it will drop in your subconscious. We live in such a fast-paced McDonald. Got to have the information now. Small snippets of information. It's really too bad, but ends up being most of relationships or situationships, not relationships. But that's all right. Got a chance to want to speak more about it because we saw that when we were up there, the second generations from the 50 years old and younger generation of my family, meeting them, and how those young brothers especially came to me and looked at me as being one of their wise counsel in life, and things that have to do with relationships, or things that have to do with how they're living. It was really moving for me to be able to get that in my family on my dad's side, since I pretty much was like that anyway when I was there with that generation. And so one of the things we saw in that generation is that there's a lot of difference in how this particular generation, especially because they were up north, and how they are looking at operating their family, or how they're relating in their family and expectations, than how down south relations are handled. At least in this case, we'll look at it from my wife's point of view and her family and how she handles relationships. And there's a distinct difference between the two. And we know that we're just a microcosm of many other relationships in the same way between black folks and between black folks, I'll be honest with you, especially if geographically it's between up north and down south. because there's definitely a geographical difference in how they relate to one another. And so we're giving this show in reference, and no, not reference, but in respect to that man who we all love and nobody just passed away not too long ago, Mr. Sly and the Family Stone. And we'll call it It's a Family Affair. Yes, yes. In fact, one of my favorite songs with Sly the Family Stone is I Want to Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again. And that's one thing I love doing ever since I was younger, being myself. And I saw many of my young family members, especially young brothers, who really enjoyed the fact that I was able to do that. Whether it was popular or not, that's how I pretty much roll. And my son seemed to roll that way even more, didn't he?
Boy, does he. Oh my gosh.
Man, talk about a chip off the old block or a chip off of maybe your block. All depends upon if he's in your face.
Either that or my question was, have you mellowed out? Was that how you were at his age? And have you mellowed out?
Yeah, I was at his age. Wow.
Yeah, he's like straight no chaser, as they say.
Exactly. We had to leave a restaurant because he didn't want to be in the restaurant for reasons I'm not going to get into. And so I decided to.
Yes, let's get into it.
No, we're not. I decided to respect his wishes, and I told the waitress, well, we're going to leave the restaurant because my son said he don't want us to be here. So I left. We all left and walked out. I thought,
wow.
You're getting ready to say something. You know? What'd you say?
No, I said that's wow. That sounds like something that I would do if I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be there. I like your son.
you would probably
me
like him.
too.
He's like I said, he likes to try to be himself the best that he can, and as he said, and they say, she says, he's a lot like me. I'm like, oh, really? I don't like that. But anyway, I'll leave that alone. It's a father thing. I guess that's how that is. So let's get right into it. We're going to open up and setting the table. And Sharon already gave what Taking the Journey is all about, so you already know that. We're talking about couples arguments over decision making. He expects her to differ differently. That's what his father molded. She expects a partner because of her mother was the decision making. Now that sets up the premises for this because, again, up in my family, this is what we're using. We use ourselves as an example on Taking the Journey. That's what it's all about, using ourselves as an example. My family, especially what I saw, which is mostly a patriotic, is that what it is? Patriarchal ran from the standpoint of males run the show. And in turn, when you're around, you could tell they run the show from that standpoint of view. Now, the younger generation is not as dogmatic as that. There's no doubt about it, but they still are very comfortable of running the show, being leaders, being males, and so on and so forth. And from that end, yet we did find out, and we do know because of the fact that years I have been under her realm, relating to her family, which don't particularly like me, is basically has 2 or 3 generations that the females have pretty much ran it, and that the males have that particular kind of not perception, but have that what I call a urban legend, or in this case, a Southern legend, a rural legend, that they are to be seen and not be heard. And I know she used to fight me about that, but yet there was too much confirmation of me feeling that when I came down and been down here. And then I heard a couple of brothers who I talked to who actually confirmed to me that, yeah, that's a kind of Southern tradition. And we kind of talked about that. We were coming back and the historical prefaces to that.
One of the reasons that I had trouble seeing that or understanding that is because in my family, it was not women choosing to run the show. It was by default because of death. You know, when the male or the head of the household dies unexpectedly or earlier, and there's not a second marriage or whatever, what do? You get females who are in that lead spot. And so it was not so much in my immediate family of the seen but not heard as it was. They were just no longer there.
Well, your observation as well, of course, is limited because there's a cultural
Exactly.
address that also in turn influences and affects our relationships as they do then as it does now.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that we wanted to also talk about, is that beyond just your own little circle, but understanding that your the outside environment affects how we relate to one another.
That's why I was saying I had trouble connecting with that. That premise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we talked about how in family history, there's been regional, cultural, and general expectations that shape what we bring into love. For example, and I gave the example. Then
let's see what the Tita
oh,
has
okay.
to say about
Well,
that.
no, not yet.
Okay.
I'm running it. No, not yet. Example. We're arguing right now over something. You want to cut me off and throw it over there. Hold on. A couple arguing over decisions making, and he expects her to defend because that's what his father modeled. Well, I can't say my father really modeled that because I grew up without a father, really, be honest with you. So I really don't know how my father operated. I had to hear it from my uncles and stuff when it comes to how he operated. I didn't get to know him and talk with him until I was 17 years old. I felt I was a grown man, and I really didn't have much respect for him whatsoever, to be honest with you. But anyway, she expects a partnership because her mother was mostly decision making. Okay. And so sometimes we run into that conflict where she's used to having a female making decisions, final decision. That's what we're really talking about, the final decision relationship. Where I, on the other hand, when I was around the Butts family, it certainly showed that they were making that final decision. Now, I'm not going to say living with my mom that existed, because certainly my mom was about having the final decision when it came to all things, period.
She was the
only one there. But that was her personality anyway. She had 7 brothers, and most of the brothers she argued with and debated with because of the fact that she was very strong-willed. I guess there's 7 brothers, and since you were the only female there, you're going to pick up on that 7 brothers who were very strong-willed, especially my Uncle Porto, who passed away, and the son we saw from that. Okay, now let's give her some input before we move on to the next segment, because we already are overdue time-wise in our segments. Go ahead, Miss.
Okay, my bad. I was listening. So, I mean, it is 15 one way, 35 the other. I grew up in several different households, and I saw several different things. I saw in one household where my great grandmother, who made matriarchal, she made the decisions. And then in the other household, for my grandmother, who was born in 1933, her and my grandfather made joint decisions. And then in the other household of my grandmother, she made the decisions. So, it's one of those things in the South. It depends on what part of the South you grew up in. I happened to grow up in Alabama, and I had relatives in Mississippi. So it was just different perspectives when you're talking about the South. It just wasn't one way. You had, like I said, 35 one way, 15 the other.
I haven't kept count either, but okay. So the reflection prompt for us is, and you're at least like this. Hopefully you agree upon me. If you don't, that's all right. I'm a butts man today. I don't care. Anyway, are you repeating a pattern, or are we building a partnership? Are we repeating a pattern, or are we building a partnership? Yeah, that's something that always should be at the basis of what we're doing. From that, are we building a partnership? Okay, so we're going on to the next segment: matriarchal, patriarchal, and migration. This is something Cheryl and I, whenever we drive, we have long dissertation talks, never ending in fights except for if we park sometimes. But anyway, we usually have a long dissertation of our talks on what we feel and what we think about life. And I love that talks with her. Very intelligent woman. At the same time, she can be very sensual, and sometimes she can be very hard-headed. But anyway, all those things mixed up to be who she is. And I see the strong potential of friendship always running through that vein at all times. I know, and like with my son, I'm not necessarily the best kind of person to be a friend with, but I tell you what, if you become a friend of mine, you're a friend indeed. That's one thing for sure. Okay, second one, break down family leadership models. In many Southern Black homes, grandma or mom ran the house. We look at Big Mama, that movie that gathers so many people. It's not even funny to watch. Even my son, who loved it to death, because his mother on my on his mom's side was exactly like, she looked like her, she acted like her, she was down south. I don't know how many long talks and arguments I had with that church lady who would hold her Bible and beat the Bible all the time when I talked to her. Craig, if you don't do this, Craig, oh my God, it was unbelievable. And her husband pretty much was just docile, didn't say much at all. Tommy, I love Tommy, but he didn't say much of anything. And that was kind of like how their relationship was handled. They had a big Southern family to it that. Anyway, so they handled the bills, raised the kids, and guided the faith in that particular family. A lot of Southern families, as I say it, she say 35-20. I say probably 26. Have to be working union jobs. The father was provider and expected to lead. We talked about how that great migration, where a lot of African Americans, including many of my uncles, that's where they start, because they're really from down south, Mississippi to be exact. And they in turn did that great migration, migration of following the drinking goal, following the drinking goal. Gourd, which was a North Star, and they followed, didn't they? Yeah.
You know, there was such a long period of time when, you know, people think that with Reconstruction, those people who know about Reconstruction think that everything went okay after Reconstruction, but the well ran dry for Black people within, you know, less than a decade after enslavement ended. And so the Great Migration was definitely
wasn't good.
But it was necessary that these men had to go to where the jobs were, and there were factories and things like that in the northern part that were not in the southern part.
Some of them sent money back, some did, some started other families up north too. I don't think it was good for our family makeup, especially after Reconstruction, when they were doing a lot of things together, even though they may have been on a farm and still paying on a farm. I forgot what was that? Sharecropping. I don't think that really helped our families out in the long, but it did example. I mean, excuse me, it did happen. Like, for example, a man raised in Detroit Fort may expect to lead financially, emotionally, while the woman raised in rural Alabama may expect to run the home and make her family decision. And she had to if he was up north and she was down south. That happened. So the great migration that did happen when families moved north and roles shifted, but emotional expectations stayed rooted in the South. That happened a lot. And so the models of that we did grow up and did at the same time bring into our relationships still have a lot to do with the Southern way. I mean, look at Tyler Perry. He's a billionaire and he still makes movies mostly off of that particular model. Big Mama, he plays a big mama, and in turn plays the role that a man doesn't know too much. He's always doing something wrong. And sadly, those kind of stereotypes are not the stereotypes that we should continue to think that should happen in our relationships. Anyway, go ahead.
Which comes down to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which comes down to.
You gonna talk on later? Oh, okay.
Well, it just comes back to the question that is at hand: Are we continuing with the same patterns, or are we building partnerships? And if we're building partnerships, we've got to dissect or take apart, dismantle some of those beliefs on both sides.
Exactly. No, you're gonna tell us.
Now you may speak.
Thank you. So, I mean, with the stereotypes,
we can speak now.
With the stereotypes, the stereo, you can tune that out. You can choose not to hear the stereotype. You can create your own. You can create your own type, right? I tune out the stereotypes. I don't give it any credence. You know, when people see me, for some reason, they see me with the scarf and they give me the whole Aunt Jemima syndrome. Like, oh, she must be this way because she's a big woman and she has a scarf. I don't even eat her syrup. So there you go.
No, but you do have a presence, a femininity that says you're important.
Well, yes.
You do have that. So one of the stereotypes says a woman like you, and you've seen that Big Mama, they will do that, but it's cherry picked on who I will do that for. Family first, anyone who's outside family that gets a perception you're going to use or abuse me or anyone else, and I don't even know you because I'm stereotyping you saying that way, then you get struck differently. You never gave across that perception to me from that end, unless I'm wrong.
Hey, you're doing your thing, okay?
So is that a yes or no?
Oh, see, look, I lost my train of thought when I said you're doing your thing. Sorry, I did.
Never mind. See, that's what I mean. That's what you can't judge this. It's like you can't judge a lot of people by the time. They are individually different, and we need to try to connect that way from then in. But we do know that there are some cultural archetypes, there are some cultural stereotypes that territorially-wise we have been conditioned. I'll say it again, conditioned to live by, and in turn, I believe strongly the racism that came through us being enslaved has everything to do with how we relate to one another in a way that we need to start moving, and what the show is all about in a more balanced way.
I think part of the problem is that we buy into those stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
We buy into them hook, line, and sinker, and we don't look at whether their connotation is negative or positive.
Mm-hmm.
And because we don't look at it that way, we don't break it apart. Using Sankofa, pick apart, take the important and the good and bring it forward and throw the rest away. And so,
I agree. It's tradition, so we should keep it. No, let's trade in those traditions. Let's trade in those stereotypes. Those stereotypes have not been beneficial. It's lazy of us to hold on to them.
Yes.
It's lazy of us to make money off of them. Okay, we have to trade in those traditions. That's just me, though.
Yes, and there's no doubt about it. We need to have more me's, we's. Okay, us. Okay, hey, let's go. Our last one. Segment for this half. Okay, another 10 minutes. Segment 3: Silence, Survival, and Slavery Shadow. Exploring the history of trauma of slavery that taught Black men to be present but voiceless. Many men learned to survive by becoming invisibly emotional while women took charge publicly and privately. Cher and I talked about that the fact that if a man down south spoke up too much, his life could be on the line. And so he had to, in turn, some of your brothers up north, please don't get mad at me, he had to mumbly rap. No, I'm just joking. He did not have to say, he could sometimes, hey, hold on before sisters. He sometimes could not even look a certain way and he could get killed.
Yeah.
Think about that. He couldn't even look a certain way at somebody. That's what happened to Emmett Till. That's damn serious.
Who was not even a man. That was a child.
Thank you. Thank you.
But they just like they hypersexualize the young Black girls, they did that with our sons too.
Yeah.
They did that. They stripped away the childhood and put them straight into the adult role, because that's what they've always done, right? When we're talking about slavery, we're talking about 9-year-olds birthing babies. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So we were always hypersexualized. Our sons were always they were unfortunately broken.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so thrust into that hypersexualization. And like you said, Amar, when you said the voice was taken, and this is where brothers got with the head nod of acknowledgement, because they couldn't actively speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in Vietnam, when they came up with the handshake of acknowledgement, right? We know we still do it now. They do it globally now, but that was to acknowledge one from the other.
Yeah. And that's we call it the dab. Well, you just about that buck breaking is, they had breeding that went on in slavery time. I just had a video. I don't know if I sent it to you. It's a video. Young brother did some research, or older brother, can't remember, that talked about the number of slaves decreased after a certain time when they stopped bringing them over. So what they did was started breeding more slaves or enslaved people so that they can have more to replace the ones that were not.
It was great. It was sinister.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the one thing that he said that stuck with me was, and it was not so much what he said, but how he phrased it. When he said that the owners were growing, growing slaves, just like they would grow crops. They
Oh
were
yeah.
growing
Yeah, because
slaves.
they were their property.
Yes.
Yeah,
They were like
Yes.
cattle. Yeah.
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 And
Because
this,
you take away the human essence. Once you take away the humanity of a person, what are they? They're no longer human to you. They
Yeah.
are the what? The bones, the spoons, the teeth. Because guess what? Our they used our bones for teeth.
Hmm.
Okay. They used us for furniture, our skin for leather furniture. So you stripped away our humanity and used us for furniture and everything else. So yeah, we were a product of the byproduct.
In that
So who
cycle.
was who were savages at the end of the day, and who taught us? Who taught us? Unfortunately, by proxy, to be that way. And this is where the unlearning must come from. We have
Exactly.
to unlearn these traditions. We have to unlearn the savagery. Is it savagery? Yes. No matter how cute you package it, it's still savagery.
Exactly.
yes.
And that's what we're doing now, right now, helping people to unlearn these things. Today, this can look at like a man who provides and protects but shuts down emotionally, helping you out today, out there, brothers and sisters, or a woman who takes over emotionally but feels burdened. That's right. A lot of brothers who are shutting down emotions is because it was of that past. It was because of that past, and we're carrying that over into our relationship, especially
And
what I've seen from down south, where in turn maybe up north not many of brothers are doing that with their examples of Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, and so on and so forth. But
and
that does happen. Go ahead, Sharon.
and for a lot of people, a lot of males especially,
Mm-hmm.
that emotional shutdown
Mm-hmm.
is not left over from generation to generation, but it's something that they're experiencing right now. That they're
Yes.
having so much stress on them. It's something
Of their songs that they are doing at a high number to give and tell the story too at the same time. So we see that happen a lot. Okay, another couple where he says little, assuming peace means silence, why she feels unseen and unheard. Again, it could be an example where a couple where he says little, assuming peace means silence, why she feels unseen and unheard. The reflection in this case, if silence kept our ancestors alive, does it now keep us apart? Well, anyway, we're going to move real quickly, like we do, to our break. And when we come back, we will be right on it. And this time, we'll be talking about the statement of communication breakdown, emotional translation. We want to move to more. That's for sure. Okay, here we go. Police in my whip must be thought I had bricks. Say I wouldn't make it, but it's happening quick. Hating on me now.
Hello, world. We're here serving Savannah, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Brooklyn, Houston, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and the world. The best music all the time. The greatest songs ever made, every time. Tune in to Hot 2100 Savannah and get a taste for your ears. Hot 2100 Savannah, serving Savannah and the world.
I be damned if it's me. I see why you mad, you ain't swaggin' like this.
Savannah, are you looking for some of the best Southern soul food? Then check out Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Boulevard. The food is so good, you'll think that your mother cooked it. Located in the heart of Savannah, Kim's has a menu that includes breakfast anytime, lunch when you need it, and dinner so you won't have to cook when you get home. They also cater all types of events and can host your reserved event at the restaurant. Come see what everyone has been raving about. Great food, great atmosphere, and a great time. Kim's Cafe, 714 MLK Boulevard in beautiful downtown Savannah.
Okay, we are back. We are back. Sharon, you kind of squeezed to the left.
I
I guess
know.
you don't want to be. You don't want to.
can't
Oh,
get
you
me
want to. Oh,
closer.
hold on. Let me move a little bit. Maybe it's me. There we go. We move our chairs have happened. Now that is much better. Move your mic a little bit closer since your voice is not too well. And you got your school glasses on. You look like a teacher, and we're all in class. Let's go ahead and get back in.
We are learning. We are learning.
Exactly. Well, before we go on, let's tell a little bit. There's Latita. Thank you for joining the show. Look at that. She's speaking while she's still being here. Wow, she's magic. How does she do that? Everyone, thank you. Good evening. Who is this, Sharon?
This is Miranda Pierce, Washington. Miranda, that's oh, hey.
Somebody she knows.
Yes.
I guess. I don't know who that is, but who do you know it from?
We'll talk later.
Okay. What must be a secret thing.
No.
Okay. Hello to Randall Noons. We're glad to see you here at the same time.
Kim's
One more
Cafe.
person. I'm tuning and listening. We're so glad to hear that, brother. James Smith. Want to let you know where you can hear us because things have changed a little bit. Let me go ahead and put up where things have changed. Hold on real quickly. Here it is.
Kim's Cafe. That's what she's from.
Okay, Kim's Cafe. Good. Is
Yes.
that the one with the husband that?
No. That's the one that we talked. Anyway, that's why I said we'll talk
Okay,
later.
yeah, exactly, because we don't want to send no embarrassment. Okay, so you can always come and get to our show right there. I guess that is where you can. Oh yeah, WRUU.
Okay,
you can get
this
us
is
on
not
WRUU.
updated. WRUU has been changed. We are now
On
Thursday
Thursdays.
morning at 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Still the same WRUU, but instead of being on Saturdays at 9, we're on Thursdays at 11
Yeah,
a.m.
exactly.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you go to this one and say something, even though there's a change on that one. Go ahead and say what it
Okay,
is.
you can email us at takingthejourneytogether@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at TTJ Together. Instagram is Taking the J Together. You can also find us, or if you are interested in couples coaching, you can contact Mind at Rest Couples Coaching.
Oops, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the phone number. I forgot.
Oh,
the phone
you got
number.
the wrong one. Well, that
Yeah.
website's no good anymore. I got to change that too.
Yes.
Because the website, I'm Fat Daddy, Big Daddy. Excuse me, I'm back on the phone now. I'm Mike. Big Daddy or GoDaddy
Daddy.
messed up our website. I got to redo a whole new one. Yes, I don't care if you represent GoDaddy and you're listening. Shame on you.
Call
But anyway,
us.
we got to do another one.
Call us at 786-763-1324.
Okay.
And once again, that's 786-763-1326.
All right.
24, I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to put our spiritual advisor back or advocate back on again. I want you to go ahead and share because now we're going to head to the next half and we're going to get into some good stuff. We're talking about now communication breakdown and emotional translation. Communication differences are just about words. They are about intent, upbringing, and learning defense, right?
Yes.
Wow. Now, someone's at the end when they say learning defense. Learn defense. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Learn defense. We kind of say to ourselves, yeah, I already know that. I ain't let my woman work with me. And I am not going to work with her because we don't work together. Well, that's my defense of not having to worry about that, which is really sad. But you see that happen.
Yeah. But, a lot of us have come from a place where everything seems to come against us, and we always feel like somebody is putting us down, or somebody has not our best interest in mind. So we are defensive if things don't come to us a certain way, if they're not spoken to us a certain way, because we have learned from growing up, from experiences that we have had as adults and whatnot, that we need to defend ourselves because nobody else will.
Exactly. Like whatever a man says, like your daddy, he ain't got nothing good to say to you anyway. So don't pay no attention to what a man says in the first place.
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
That's one that goes both ways. But that's that learned defensiveness, which if you're trying to build a relationship, that's another one of those things that has to be torn down, because otherwise you're not going to build a friendship or a partnership. You're just going to build more fences. Defenses.
Go ahead, Miss Lady Latina. I know you're just itching to say something. I could tell that.
Well, we're talking about fences. We don't need you teeter-tottering and trying to balance it out, either going to be on one side or the other. But be mindful when you're on either side of the fence. Think before you speak. Know that your words do carry that power. And as you said, that intent, that internal tension will happen. Okay? It will.
Exactly. I saw a lot of young men that came over to talk to me from the Bats front. We had the reunion in a lodge. I'd never been in this lodge all my life that I was there. It was the first time I went to the lodge, and my mind was, oh, it's going to be dark. It was going to be scary. Brother's going to be cutthroat in there. And it wasn't like that at all. It was pretty cool. Ain't got no windows on them, but it was still pretty cool from that end. So if you're claustrophobia, them old lodges you don't want to go to. But it's been part of the family for years, come to think of it. But what I saw out of that is a lot of the younger generation 50 and other, their intent was they were trying to not only relate to one another, but they were trying to, what they feel, be successful in the world, in their own world, and wanting to give back. I remember one of the young brothers, and Sharon was there, who's a generation below me, 50 years old, said, you know, the Buzzards are known for drinking. What was the other one?
Women, wait, how do you have it? Drinking
and women.
Drinking and women are two things he does well.
That's what he said.
And I was like,
that is a Buzz fame.
I'm like, that's your claim to fame?
That is,
but I let it go.
That's definitely a Buzz. He was over telling me, spilling his guts because he felt, and he knew that he could. Most of them knew that with me. That basically they have seen that come out of the generations before. And this was a generation that was passed on to them, because we know that DNA memory does happen. And we know that part of that conscious tape that runs from how we grew up and makes that programming is there. And they were just talking about with him, because he had some counseling, that this was something that brought to his attention. And then he was seeing that he can make choices to do things differently and operate his life differently, which he was doing.
His point was, at some point you have to break the curse.
Yeah,
and
that's a good word.
And that's what he was working at doing, was breaking the curse that had been handed down from
like some of your
fathers and grandfathers and on down.
Some of your sisters.
Oh, absolutely.
Passed on generations.
All of us need to take inventory.
Yes.
Of what we're bringing into relationships. And sometimes we need to, which is something that nobody ever talks to us about doing, because it's like, oh, you're going to get married? Okay, he seems like a nice guy. Go ahead, get married. Or she seems like,
cycle.
Yeah, or she seems like a nice girl. Go ahead and get married. But nobody sits down and takes into consideration the spiritual aspect of what each of you are bringing to the table. And so sometimes you need to take inventory of yourself and decide what you want to keep aside and what's okay to come with you.
Well, here's one example you're talking about. A woman expressing the stress sounds like an attack to a partner. I know some brothers, that's all they feel when they're is trying to express a particular stress. And who grew up in a home where the man were shamed for their emotions. They were shamed for their emotions. So they hide their emotions. They don't want to say anything because of the fact that they saw that when their father, if they brought their emotions, that they were shamed for. And most of the time the father would go out and do the drinking. And that's when only time he expressed his emotion, he was out there drinking with his other boys, like my uncles did, and all that good stuff. The younger generation you could see that they're changing. They're moving more. So I have a right to express my my feelings and my emotions and felt good about it.
And a lot of times it was the mothers who balked at the child showing emotion. It was soft behavior. And we can't have any soft behavior coming from a male child of mine. You know, that's crazy. I'm like, cry your eyes out if that's what you need.
Yeah. That ain't gonna happen sometimes. Introduce the
No.
concept of emotional translation. Repeating back what you heard. What?
Asking, what do you need from me right now? That's support, solution, or silence.
And you saw that happen when we're out in the public. And my son started to speak to me about just how much he missed me, and started talking about how he just wanted to be able to hear me. And even when I talk about it right now, it breaks me up inside because I never had that connection to my dad, though there was a longing for it. But I'm sitting right here across this young man who I helped birth in this world. He's telling me something that I get closer to the mic, that I long for in my own life to actually happen. And he was speaking that to me. In the minute of his conversation, that I'm thinking, I know I'm out in the public, you shouldn't really be doing it. He actually starts breaking down and crying with no shame, with no, this is uncomfortable. We got all kinds of folks, white folks and black folks around, and he's doing that. And I'm like, whoa. And I could feel a tape in my head. I hear a tape in my head from my old uncles, like, don't be crying out in the open. It's just, you ain't being no man. But yet I knew in my own experience from the longing of having a father to be able to talk to me who I didn't have, I would be a hypocrite in not satisfy that very longing where I was able to give back. Yes, that's right. Sometimes love is something you give back with something you didn't have. And when that happens, that creation then becomes a reality to you and the other person. Why? Because love is an action, not just a feeling. So I got up, Sharon said, get up. I went over to side and put my arms around him, one of my arms around him, my other arm around him, and just had him closely. And he just fell right in my shoulder like he was a little boy.
He snuggled in like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And boy, my heart broke then. That was just a piece of mush sitting across the table.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful to see that happen. And you could hear people in the background going, oh, they were taking breaths, because it was like they might have put that viral. Who knows? All I know is we left out of there. We didn't have to pay for anything because of the waitress was so moved by the whole thing. It wasn't even fun. Yeah.
See, your curse became you are sentient energy. You see, that's you turned it into something positive.
Okay, thank you at the end. What you said is good, which explains the first word. What's the first word you said to help us out again?
I said, see, you are sentient energy. You turned your curse, you made it good. The curse became good. You can do that, people. You see what he did in his head. His uncles, the ancestors, the people he grew up with, was like, oh, we don't cry. But you said, nah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm owning this curse. You turned it into sentient energy. See, you are sentient energy.
Exactly. And that is everything due for young folks out there that she might be taking well, and older folks too might be talking way over their head. What it meant, at least for me, is I wanted to give back to my son that which was missing to me. I longed for my father to be able to do that. And so I wanted to give that back to him. And I had the ability to be able to do that at that particular time. And having that ability to be able to do that, I then was able to feel that which I didn't get from my father. And I got to do that because I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let you go, sister. That's because love is not necessarily connected to that particular sex. It's not connected to that particular color. It's not connected to that particular even thing. Love is a energy. And I took upon the responsibility of owning that energy and then allow it to be passed on.
And the thing that came over to me in that is that when you're talking about people being able to understand what Latita said, you know, there's some people who understand standing in the gap. You stood in the gap. You were the father for your son, and you could And at the same time, you were the representation of your father, and he was the representation
that.
of you. So you got that father energy because you gave that father energy,
Yeah.
but you also nurtured that child that was longing in you.
Ooh, yeah, that was good. I like that. That is very, very good. Most people still look at me being a father. I still might see
Well,
myself
you
as
are
being
still a
a father.
father.
Oh, but I'm just talking about that energy in that particular person.
Yeah.
What you're just saying is I father. Ooh, that's deep. I fathered my own self at that particular time. And there's no doubt about it. We need to embrace ourselves with that kind of love.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to start embracing ourselves to begin with before we're able to share it with others. No doubt about it. Okay, we're going to move on. I'm sorry, folks. I know we can go further. Introducing concept of emotional translation. That's what you said. Emotional translation. And there's so many words. Repeating back what you heard. We already said that, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, we're on the next one.
We're
I'm sorry.
segment
Path of
5.
healing. Where are we at? What was the next one?
Pathways to healing
Go
and
ahead.
harmony.
Yeah, but we were further than that. Create a shared vision, not just a shared survival. Create a shared vision, not just a shared survival. Ask each other weekly. This is a solution, folks. We'll move into the selection of solutions, paths for healing when it comes to dealing with this, with the generational gaps. Okay. Each week, we need to get with one another and then ask, what is it I'm not seeing when it comes to you
That you need.
that you need? Very, very important for us to think about doing that every week. Sometimes we're not even contacting, not even getting in touch with other. And if we do, might be hi, goodbye, and then moving on. But we're really not trying to connect to see what the needs are between one another. So that's one thing we should do. We should try to do it every week.
We tend to
Minimum every week.
We tend to emotionally surface surf.
Yeah.
So we just skim right over the top of things, not paying attention to problems or whatever. It's just like, okay, if I can go from A to B and not cause any problems, we're good.
Yeah, that'd be peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It won't be drama. It'd be peaceful. Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Be like you're dead. But in Walking Dead, how's that?
Yeah.
Refine loyalty from endurance to active partnership. Refine your loyalty from endurance to active partnership. Know the difference between a want and a need. Okay. Know the difference between a want and I had to say that again. Which one I wanted and which one I needed. Anyway, I said it again. Want. I want you to say I look good. This is an example. I'll say it again. I want you to what? Say I look good. You do that all the time. No, you don't. Need. I need to feel like I matter to you. What you think about that spiritual advent? I had to stop there before we finish our show on that segment. Which is the end. What do you think about that particular response or those two particular examples, the difference between want and need?
Well, I mean, again, you have the different societal tropes of want and need, and you have to utilize individuality and then look at the partnership, right? What are your wants? What are your needs? And as a partner, what do we want? What do we need?
Like that. And those kind of questions, find that out. Especially if you haven't been moving in a unified way in your relationship and you're still like two individuals in a relationship, you're going to have to ask those questions because you can't assume it. You may not have the shine. She'll tell you later on what the shine is. And you may not even know what's going on between another particular person. But those questions give you that understanding and at least open up that door if they're willing to answer so you can know what's going on. Final reflection. Legacy isn't just about property. Again, property. Many of us are in relationships where we feel we own that person and vice versa. Okay. And it's about how we treat each other across time. That's right. Love. When you look at the stories, you look at the movies, look at the books, you find that people and families could live past across time. They might not be living with one another anymore. They might be from a whole different generation, a whole different centuries, and they have sci-fi shows where they're from different worlds, but yet they are still being able to feel and love somebody else. I want to get into quantum physics that even proves that from that end. But love crosses time and fear. So it's important for us to know it's not property. It's how we treat each other across time.
Invite couples to reflect, reconnect, and reimagine together.
Okay. And that's what we're going to do. We're trying to invite couples who are listening, those who are listening to us right now, to reflect, reconnect, and reimagine your togetherness, your togetherness. I'm sorry, my mouse was upside down. Our Latita, why don't you give your final words and where you're going to be, since we have about 4 minutes left?
Okay, well, you were speaking on legacy, so let that energy gather together. Be the leg of the legacy, right? Let that energy gather together and be a part of each other's breath. Yes, we take individual breaths, but be a part of each other's breath. Literally sit beside each other, hold each other's hand, and take breaths together. Inhale and exhale together in love and in knowing, not just beliefs, but in knowing.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So where can they maybe find you? We hope to be hooking up with you in the next week, hopefully. Sometime, hopefully, if we're still around.
Okay, well, you can find me on the Tickety Talk or the Talkity Tick under LD Jackson and under Latita Jackson on Facebook. And also telephone number, I didn't put it, but it's 865-271-9694, 865-271-9694. Please text me first and go, hey, saw you on Taking the Journey Together. I just need to ask you something. There you go.
Love that. Hopefully, too, our next show, we're going to be in the Augusta area. We're planning to actually do a relationship show there at one of the libraries in Diamond Lake Community Center. And hopefully, if Miss Latita is still around, we're going to make sure that she's on our panel there, so we could discuss things that have to do with relationships there at the library. It'll probably be sometime on Saturday or something. I can't remember. Saturday. It's going to be a Saturday too at the same time. So we're excited about it. Want to leave you this last closing quote. Hopefully all of us will stand in agreement with this one. North, south, east, west, man, woman, black, child, whatever.
Mars.
We inherit patterns, but we don't have to repeat them. We can choose to build something new and different. I'll say it again. We inherit patterns, but we don't have to repeat them. We can choose to build something new and different. Let's keep on doing that as we take that journey together. God bless. Ashe.
Like that.